When the world fell into chaos, most fought to survive. I farmed. But don't get me wrong, this isn't some peaceful slice of life. Not when the soil's cursed, the monsters crawl at night. And the women who followed me weren't just looking for shelter. They were warriors, witches, and something more. In a world where strength means survival, my land became a fortress, and my harem, the deadliest crew this new world has ever seen. This is Apocalypse Descent, farming with my harem. Let the harvest begin.
Chapter 1, Ice Seal Age Open Beta begins. Axing, Big Brother is dead. They say he was beaten to death by some workers at the construction site for owing them money. Xiangjiang, inside an office building. Chao Xing heard someone calling his name, glanced at the other party indifferently, and saw a young man in a suit with slicked back hair. Then, Chao Xing looked down again. He was playing a survival adventure game on his tablet called Ice Seal Age. The art style was realistic, making it a more hardcore survival game. Players started next to a bonfire because, in this world's extreme cold weather, they could only move safely within the fire's range. If they stayed away from the fire for too long, the game character would freeze to death. Players needed to build shelters and unlock various basic constructions. These constructions could be upgraded by collecting materials. For example, a bonfire could be upgraded to a big bonfire or a melting furnace, and eventually even to an energy tower in later stages. Apart from that, players could develop a military force or territory technology to unlock different paths. According to the official announcement, a team mode would be released later. However, since the game was still in beta testing, Chao Xing didn't see anyone around him playing it, nor could he find any information online. At this moment, a prompt appeared on the tablet screen. The game will enter public testing in 2 hours and will soon enter maintenance status. More content is being unlocked, stay tuned. Was it finally going public? Chao Xing felt a little excited, and at this moment, the young man with slick back hair naturally sat beside him. Wu Jiahui put an arm around Chao Xing's shoulder, axing, "You followed the big brother for a while, and he was your boss. Aren't you upset that he died?" Chao Xing put down the tablet, glanced at him, and said, "Come on, after he founded Yongxing Group and cleaned up, he cut ties with us. I've just been his dedicated driver all these years, it's not like there was any real connection. Besides, with a heart so black, being beaten to death is nothing unusual." "True." Wu Jiahui nodded. At this point, an intriguing smile appeared on his face. It's a pity Big Brother spent so many years pursuing Lu Muxue. Just when he was ready to get married, this happened. Speaking of which, Lu Muxue is truly a remarkable woman. That figure, and those long legs, TSK, anyone would be mesmerized. Too bad Big Brother couldn't savor it. Chao Xing didn't respond to this because his phone vibrated. After checking it, Chao Xing got up from the sofa, turning to leave. "Axing, where are you going?" Chao Xing shrugged, "I'm a driver, where can I go?" "Of course, I'm off to pick someone up." Chao Xing went to Yongxing Group's underground garage, expertly finding a deep brown Maybach among the luxury cars. Entering the car, the interior was extremely luxurious. The car's value, including the interior, was at least over 7 million. Of course, this car was certainly not his. Chao Xing was alone, with no family, making it tough to live in a city like Xiangjiang. Let alone have the money to buy such a luxury car. Half an hour later, the Maybach stopped at the entrance of a 5-star hotel in the city center. Chao Xing took out his phone and sent a message. "Sister-in-law, I'm downstairs." A message came back. "Okay." A few minutes later, a tall woman in a black dress walked out from the hotel's entrance. Her demeanor was poised, the tight-fitting dress outlined a perfect body curve, with her long legs moving gracefully, like exquisite jade artifacts. This woman was Lu Muxue. Chao Xing didn't get out of the car, the woman naturally sat in the back of the Maybach. "Axing, to the funeral home." Chao Xing nodded, and the car started. On the way, Lu Muxue took a call, her eyebrows furrowed, seemingly troubled by something. I said, agreeing to marry Yongxin Group was something you requested back then. Now that Qinjiang is dead, I have no relationship with him. Don't think you can use me as a bargaining chip for profit. She seemed quite angry, but due to her good upbringing, she quickly calmed the anger in her heart. Sorry, Axing. Lu Muxue said softly. Chao Xing shook his head. He knew Lu Muxue's character. She wasn't the type to berate people below her because of her status. On the contrary, she had always been nice to her subordinates, and her reputation outside was good. Since Lu Muxue quickly rose to fame, the media had done detailed reports on her family and personal experiences. Her original family wasn't particularly wealthy. But due to her outstanding looks and figure, she quickly rose to fame after becoming an adult. Naturally, she attracted attention from many who had ulterior motives. Yongxin Group's chairman Qin Jiang, aka Chao Xing's big brother, was among them. The car soon arrived at the funeral home. Before exiting, Lu Muxue put on a sad expression. She knew that no matter how much she disliked that man in her heart, she still had to put on a show. Chao Xing remained in the car waiting. An hour later, Lu Muxue returned. It was clear she had cried, her makeup was slightly messed up, with a subtle smoky look. Her elegant aura was accompanied by a touch of decadence, giving her a unique beauty. Back in the car, Lu Muxue's expression calmed down, then she said, Axing, take me back to the hotel. Okay. Chao Xing nodded. Just as he was about to start the car, everything suddenly went black. Then, everyone heard a synthesized mechanical voice by their ears. The new version update of Ice Seal Age is complete, officially opening the era of public testing. In a minute, all humans on Blue Star will enter this game. Game instructions: this is a world where the sun does not shine. It is vast and boundless, but shrouded in cold all day. Your task is to survive in this world. Once the game begins, you'll appear next to a bonfire, your flame of survival. Remember. Do not leave the space illuminated by the firelight easily. Your goal is to gather more supplies, expand your territory, and develop more units. The new version features family survival mode, with families as units, up to 4 people per group. If you have no relatives, you'll be randomly grouped with people around you. So, in this brand new world, strive to live on. When Chao Xing regained his sight, he suddenly found himself in an icy snowfield. Everything before him was covered in ice and snow. What the hell, where's my Maybach? Before his words finished, an icy coldness swept over him. Chao Xing felt like he would freeze stiff on the spot in an instant. Hiss. Chao Xing took a deep breath, instinctively hurrying close to the burning bonfire before him, finally feeling a trace of warmth. At this moment, a character panel appeared before him. Name, Chao Xing. Race, Blue Star Human Clan. Level 1, 0 out of 100. Profession, none. Life value, 100. Power, 4, Agility, 3, Spirit, 5, Constitution, 5. Lord interface, not open. Current status, cold. Current temperature, -31 degrees C. Damn. This system panel is exactly the same as the one I played on the tablet. Then, the second system prompt appeared. All survivors, please choose your professional system as soon as possible. Currently, there are 5 major systems: Cold Iron Mechanic, Polar Warrior, Frost Mage, Aurora Knight, Snow Hunter. Chao Xing's eyes lit up with joy. He could choose a profession. Clearly, these professions were the same as the ones he had played before. Of course, Chao Xing knew that these 5 professions did not have significant combat power in the early stages. For instance, the Cold Iron Mechanic's early skill was summoning a small self-destructing robot, and its power wasn't even comparable to the firecrackers we used to blow up outhouses in childhood. The polar warrior just had a simple slash attack. The frost mage was a little better with an initial ice ball skill. As for the aurora knight and snow hunter, they had purification skill and hunter perception, respectively. To truly gain extraordinary power, one needed to continuously develop and acquire more skills. Chao Xing thought, I have experienced all 5 professions before when playing this game. The strongest is naturally the mechanic, but it's a late-game profession, and the material consumption is too high. In the early stages, both polar warriors and snow hunters are strong, but they become weak in the late stages. At this moment, realization dawned on Chao Xing's face. I see, this game introduced the family survival mode so we survivors can allocate professions reasonably, safely passing through early, middle, and late stages, and survive better. However, Chao Xing glanced beside him. Apart from him, there was only Lu Muxue here. Although he didn't know why he was grouped with her, now was not the time to think about it. She was looking at the bonfire with a bewildered expression, seemingly trying to digest the system's prompt. Chao Xing understood, it seems that achieving the 4-person cooperation mode is not possible. So, what profession should he choose? After a moment of contemplation, Chao Xing directly chose Frost Mage. A system prompt appeared. Congratulations! You have successfully chosen the profession, Frost Mage. Elemental affinity unlocked, slightly increased cold resistance, and initial equipment placed in storage box. Chao Xing breathed a sigh of relief, and just as he was about to search for the initial storage box, a second system prompt solemnly appeared. Detected that survivor, Chao Xing's fate aligns with this world. Personal talent, Eternal Power has been activated. Eternal Power, hidden unique talent, causes all friendly units within the territory to gain permanent enhanced status when receiving temporary enhanced status. Chao Xing was stunned for a moment, then exclaimed, "Holy shit! Cheat mode activated." Chapter 2, Bonfire Upgrade, Recruit Polar People. Obviously, if the Eternal Power talent were to function, it's necessary to gather more territorial forces. It seems I should develop along the line of Lord Stream, Chao Xing thought to himself. At this moment, Chao Xing noticed a countdown overhead. Time until nightfall, 4 hours 32 minutes. Note, during the newbie protection period, there will be no monster attacks on the camp, newbie protection period remaining, 5 days 17 hours. Only 4 hours left until dark. Chao Xing's scalp tightened instantly. He knew that in this extremely cold world, the temperature would plummet drastically at night. Chao Xing's gaze turned to the bonfire in front of him. Campfire, Level 1. Bonfire effect, can increase the temperature of a 10-meter radius by 520 degrees Celsius. Consumption, 1 wood per 15 minutes. Materials required for upgrade, stone *5. Currently, the temperature near the bonfire was already at -32 degrees Celsius, and it would drop another 20 degrees or more at night. Obviously, the heat emitted by this level 1 bonfire was not enough to let him pass through the night safely. Chao Xing then looked at another collapsed small hut nearby. Damaged Lord's hut, reparable. Materials needed for repair, stone *10, wood *20. Chao Xing's eyes lit up instantly. This is it. Once repaired, the territory interface could be opened, and he could hide inside at night to avoid the harsh cold. However, repairing the Lord's hut required materials like stone and wood. Chao Xing surveyed the surrounding snowfield, where there were a pile of white stones and some cut wood near the bonfire. Stone, white a basic material. Wood, white a basic material. Just as Chao Xing was about to pick up the wood, Lu Muxue softly inquired nearby, axing, "The prompt sound asks me to choose a profession, what should I choose?" Obviously, this woman had already digested the system information and accepted the fact that she was in a new world. Chao Xing nodded secretly, her adaptability was quite fast. "Sis-in-law, you should choose Aurora Knight." Chao Xing had a personal bias for letting her choose this profession. Because Aurora Knight had many powerful boost skills in the later stage, but the effects were always short-lived. And with his own, eternal power, talent, he could turn these boost effects into permanent states. Imagine, at that time, Chao Xing controlling a group of permanently buffed units, how terrifying their combat power would be. Although, be it in demeanor or appearance, Lu Muxue didn't match the knight image at all. Especially since today she was wearing white silk stockings. Thinking of Lu Muxue wearing armor on top and white silk stockings below, Chao Xing felt it was quite a mismatch. No, maybe it's not bad. A white silk knight. Hee. Alright, then I'll choose Aurora Knight. Lu Muxue didn't doubt Chao Xing's decision. In this unfamiliar world, Chao Xing was the only person she knew. Chao Xing nodded and then saw a small wooden box next to the bonfire. Territory Storage Box, Level 1. Storage box capacity, 40 slots. Note, there are some initial supplies and tools inside, please open it as soon as possible. Chao Xing stepped forward and opened it, revealing many supplies inside. Successfully opened, obtained bread *20, obtained iron pot, white, *1, obtained stone axe, white, *4, obtained stone hammer, white, *4, obtained wooden magic wand, white, *1, obtained wooden round shield, white, *1. The supplies inside were for 4 people, and the system didn't dock the supplies even though they were only a 2-person team. Chao Xing nodded with satisfaction. With the stone hammer, he could start building the Lord's hut. This was key to safely passing the first night. Then he began to gather nearby stones and wood, moving them piece by piece. System prompts appeared continuously. Stone +1. Stone +1. Wood +2. These stones were quite heavy. After a while, Chao Xing was drenched in sweat. As a modern person, my physical fitness really is lacking. However, after nearly 20 minutes of hard work, he finally gathered enough materials to repair the Lord's hut. Chao Xing stood before the small hut. Start repairing the damaged Lord's hut. It will take 17 minutes. Yes. Then, Chao Xing began wielding the stone hammer himself, hammering away to the system's given template. There was no choice, only after repairing the Lord's hut could he unlock other territory constructions. Before recruiting polar people, Chao Xing could only do it himself. Seeing him busy, Lu Muxue crouched on the ground, hugging her arms tightly against the cold, perfectly displaying her curves. She looked at him with curious eyes and asked, "Axing, is there anything I can help with?" Chao Xing glanced at the fire on the ground and then at the scattered stones and wood in the snow, nodding, "You go collect the nearby stones and wood first, then upgrade the campfire as soon as possible." Lu Muxue, hearing this, had no hesitation. She stood up directly and walked out to the fire. Soon, she returned, awkwardly carrying a stone. It was clear that the weight of this stone was quite burdensome for her. Lu Muxue held it in her arms turning red from the cold. But she gritted her teeth and continued moving stones. Stone +1. The high heels were inconvenient, so Lu Muxue took them off, walking barefoot in the snow, her face pale with cold. Chao Xing, busy repairing the Lord's hut, did not stop her. In this world, to survive, everyone had to exert effort. When Lu Muxue put down the stone, her perky hips faced Chao Xing, perfectly showcasing her curves, making blood rush. Chao Xing quickly turned his gaze away, focusing on his work. There he was, repairing the Lord's hut. Lu Muxue was transporting stones to upgrade the bonfire, the two collaborated in division of labor. Soon, Chao Xing heard a system prompt. Your campfire has been upgraded to level 2. Campfire, level 2. Bonfire effect, can increase the temperature of a 20-meter radius by 10-20 degrees Celsius. Consumption, 1 wood per 13 minutes. Materials required for next level, stone *10. The upgraded bonfire's coverage was significantly larger. Even Chao Xing, who was working, felt a bit of warmth, and his efficiency improved. A few minutes later, a system prompt appeared. Lord's hut built successfully, territory interface unlocked, congratulations. You can now build more basic infrastructure. Chao Xing smiled joyfully, he could finally construct other buildings. The next step was to build the Polar People hut, and then summon some Polar People to formally begin his path as Lord. Simultaneously, a second system prompt appeared. As the first survivor on all servers to build a Lord's hut, you earn a reward, Ice Healing Skill, Skill Book. Ice Healing Skill, White consumes a certain amount of spiritual power to cast Ice Healing Skill on a target, restoring life value at 0. 8 times spirit per second, lasting 3 seconds. Smack! A yellowed skill book appeared in the snow in front of Chao Xing. Great! It was actually a skill book. And one for himself. Although combat rarely occurred during the rookie protection period, this skill book undoubtedly increased Chao Xing's confidence significantly. Learn Ice Healing Skill, White. Yes. Chao Xing clicked to learn directly. At this time, many functional panels appeared before Chao Xing. They were, Territory, Construction, Carrying Backpack, Crafting, Channel, Personal, and Territorial Forces. These interfaces nearly covered all functions. Chao Xing first opened the backpack, which had only 20 slots of storage space. Of course, it was empty inside. Then, he opened Construction. Clicking it, many Level 1 constructions popped up. Including, Level 1 Simple Stove, Level 1 Simple Hearth, Level 1 Smelting Factory, Level 1 Logging Factory, Level 1 Blacksmith Shop, Level 1 Polar People Hut, among others. Without looking at the other basic facilities for now, Chao Xing first opened the Polar People Hut, Introduction. Level 1 Polar People Hut, can summon polar people to work for you by spending food. Area, 12 square meters. Capacity, 4 people. Materials required for construction, stone *10, wood *30. Repair time, 45 minutes, population can be added for repair, accelerating repair time, limit, 2 people. Chao Xing thought to himself, it takes 45 minutes for one person to build, that's a bit slow. There are only 3 hours left until nightfall, and I still need to do other things. Thus, he looked at Lu Muxue, sis-in-law, come help me. Lu Muxue, due to moving stones and wood, had consumed a lot of physical energy, her dress soaked with sweat. Through her dress, one could see the outline of her white lace underwear. Hearing Chao Xing calling her, Lu Muxue put down her tasks and walked over slowly. Axing, what do you need me to do? Chao Xing pointed to the empty space in front of them and said, I want to build a Polar People hut here, but constructing it takes too long. Help me build it together, and it will be much faster. Lu Muxue looked slightly confused, seemingly not understanding, but nodded anyway. Then, the two started cooperating to build the Polar People hut. Clang! Clang! Rhythmic hammering sounds echoed in the vast snowy field. Half an hour later, a system prompt appeared. Successfully built, Polar People hut, territory population +4. Now, you can recruit Polar People to work for you by consuming food. Note, as a lord, you need to provide daily food for your subordinates. If left in hunger for long, they will abandon you. In front of the two, a small hut resembling a camp tent suddenly appeared on the snowy ground, standing just under 2 meters high. At this moment, another system prompt appeared in Chao Xing's ear. As the first survivor on all servers to build a Polar People hut, you earn a reward, bread *50. Seeing this system prompt, a glimmer of delight flashed in Chao Xing's eyes. Great! A full 50 pieces of food, this reward is quite impressive. Chao Xing couldn't help but feel grateful for having played this game, allowing him to construct these buildings ahead of everyone in the shortest time. Chao Xing thought to himself, recruiting a polar person requires 5 units of food. If not for this system reward, I could only recruit a maximum of 2. But now, I can directly recruit 4 polar people. Thinking of this, Chao Xing clicked on recruitment directly. Consume food *20 to recruit polar people *4. Yes. As soon as the words fell, the tent-like camp began to tremble. Then, the door was pushed open. Out came 4 figures, each less than 1.5 meters tall, dressed in thick snow suits, with rough appearances. These were the polar people. After coming out, they looked at Chao Xing and Lu Muxue, respectfully saluting. Honorable Lord, the polar people pledged their service to you. On the side, Lu Muxue was completely taken aback by this miraculous transformation. Her small mouth opened slightly, and she exclaimed, Axing, they came out. Chapter 3, World Chat Channel. Lu Muxue was shocked by the sight of 4 polar people materializing out of thin air in the snow. While Chao Xing was not surprised at all. Anyone who had been a lord knew that this was perfectly normal. At this moment, the 4 polar people were staring with wide eyes, expectantly looking at Chao Xing. Chao Xing started to check their attributes. Polar person, Alpha Nasi, name can be changed. Level, 1-0 out of 100, can gain experience through combat and other activities. Detailed attributes, click to expand. Polar person, Zach, name can be changed. Level, 1-0 out of 100. Detailed attributes, click to expand. Polar person, Mama Duo, name can be changed. Level, 1-0 out of 100. The attributes of these 4 polar people were mostly similar, although the one named Zach had a slightly higher constitution. Because these names were of a more Western style, Chao Xing didn't want to put effort into memorizing their names. So, Chao Xing pointed at the polar person named Zach and said, "From now on, you shall be called Dazhuang, you are the captain of your small team. The others are Huang, San Huang, and Si Zhuang, respectively. Do you all understand?" Beside him, Lu Muxue chuckled, seemingly amused by Chao Xing's simple and crude naming style. However, the faces of the polar people, covered with hair, showed joy. Understood. Thank you, Lord, for granting us names. You successfully named the polar person. Dazhuang's loyalty increased by 5 points. You successfully named the polar person. Erzwang's loyalty increased by 5 points. Chao Xing was surprised. Could he increase loyalty with that? 75 loyalty points were already very high, at least they wouldn't defy Chao Xing's orders. Once the polar people were recruited, they needed to start working. Chao Xing opened the construction interface to check the buildings that could be constructed. Level 1 simple furnace can be placed indoors, raising the temperature by 15-20 degrees Celsius. Consumption 20 minutes/1 wood. Construction materials required, stone *6. Note, if you don't want to freeze to death at night, I suggest you build it immediately. Level 1 simple stove can be used for cooking, steaming, and other actions. Construction materials required, stone *8, wood *4. Note, this is for eating, pal, you should know how important it is, right? Level 1 logging factory can be used to process logs. Area 30 square meters. Construction materials required, stone *30, wood *50. Note, to get rich, start chopping trees. I suggest you prioritize building the logging factory. Level 1 sewing shop can make simple cold-resistant clothing or armor. Area 30 square meters. Construction materials required, stone *40, wood *60. Note, as a lord, you wouldn't want your subordinates to go naked into battle, right? Level 1 ore processing plant can smelt and sort collected ores from the wild. Processable ores, coal, iron. Upgrading the processing plant can smelt higher grade metals. Area 50 square meters. Construction materials required, stone *80, wood *150. Note, to create more advanced equipment, a processing plant is indispensable. Level 1 blacksmith shop, can forge weapons or tools inside. Area, 30 square meters. Construction materials required, stone *100, wood *200, iron *20. Note, listen, pal, soldiers without weapons are like toothless tigers. There were many types of level 1 buildings. Besides these, there were also, medical room, small shelter, wall, gate, etc. However, these buildings required a lot of stone and wood, as well as higher level materials like fine iron. Clearly, Chao Xing didn't have a piece of iron. Moreover, the stone and wood near the campfire had already been used up. In this icy world, where else could resources be gathered? Chao Xing scanned his surroundings. Suddenly his eyes lit up. About 100 to 200 meters away, he could see a patch of snow-covered small woods and some large stones. These should be the initial resource points. Thus, Chao Xing took out 4 stone axes and 4 iron shovels from his backpack and handed them to the 4 polar people. Then he said, Dazhuang, Erzhuang, you team up to chop wood over there. Sanzhuang, Sizhuang, you take the tools and go collect more stones. The 4 polar people straightened up immediately and respectfully said, Yes, Lord. After speaking, they each took their tools and walked toward the snow outside the bonfire. Because of their talents, they could work outside the bonfire for longer than Chao Xing and the others. All 4 polar people were sent out by Chao Xing to gather supplies. Lu Muxua blinked her pretty eyes, asking, What should we do now? Looking at her frostbitten skin and face gradually turning pale. At this rate, Lu Muxua would either freeze to death or fall seriously ill. Getting sick in the snow was a troublesome matter. Chao Xing said, Sis-in-law, you should work indoors next, build the furnace and stove first. Okay. Lu Muxua whispered in response, not forcing it further, and walked inside gracefully. Chao Xing checked the remaining supplies. Food *50, wood *27, stone *17. The most lacking material now should be stone, but wood is also essential, as we need it for warmth at night. Although the current temperature can barely get through the first night, it's still not very safe. So, let's upgrade the campfire. The system prompt appeared. Do you want to consume stone *10 to upgrade the campfire's level? Chao Xing clicked, yes, and started clanging away. A dozen minutes later, Chao Xing saw the bonfire in front of him piled with stones over a meter high, gradually taking the shape of a furnace. The roaring flames burned brightly. Campfire upgrade successful, current level, 3. Campfire, level 3. Bonfire effect, can increase temperature by 10-20 degrees Celsius in a 40-meter radius area. Consumption, 10 minutes/1 wood. Materials required for the next level, stone *20, wood *10. Great, although the temperature hasn't increased, the heating range has doubled. But similarly, the consumption was greater, with 1 wood consumed every 10 minutes. At this rate, the camp's wood wouldn't last long. Once the wood was exhausted, they would lose their heat source, facing at least -60 degrees of harsh weather. It wouldn't be long before they froze to death. Chao Xing furrowed his brow. Hopefully, those polar people can gather wood smoothly. Working outside for too long, Chao Xing felt almost frozen stiff. So, he also went into the Lord's hut. Inside the hut, due to the lack of lighting equipment, it appeared dim. A shapely figure was building a stove in the corner. She bent down, her long white silk legs were straight, and looking up, her hips were wrapped in a dress. This pose accentuated her curves round like a bowling ball. Wow! So big, Chao Xing couldn't help but remark. Lu Muxua thought Chao Xing was there to supervise the work, wiped the fine sweat from her forehead, and said softly, axing, the furnace is almost done. Chao Xing shook his head, Sis-in-law, let me help you. Okay. Lu Muxue responded softly. With Chao Xing's help, the construction of the furnace sped up significantly. A few minutes later, a system prompt appeared. Level 1 furnace construction successful. However, this time, Chao Xing didn't hear a reward prompt. His mind was suddenly clear. It seemed that the furnace was such a basic building and wouldn't trigger rewards. Fiweb novel. Calm. Of course, it was also possible that other survivor teams had already built it in advance. This time, more than 7 billion people worldwide had landed in the snowy world, among them naturally would be many with amazing adaptability. Sizzle. As the sound of wood catching fire emerged, the furnace gradually emitted an orange-red glow, illuminating the entire Lord's hut. Currently, the Lord's hut was empty. Apart from a furnace, there was nothing else. Near the furnace, the two felt waves of warmth coming over them. Chao Xing glanced at the indoor temperature. Current temperature, -16 degrees Celsius. Although still very cold, it was much better compared to the outside temperature of -several dozen degrees. Lu Muxue curled up her body, continually shivering. Having been working without feeling it before, she now realized her body was already a mass of frostbite. Chao Xing furrowed his brow, thinking. It seems the sewing shop should quickly be put on the schedule, considering our thin clothing is practically like being naked. At this rate, let alone Lu Muxue, even I would freeze to death. A strong sense of crisis re-emerged. Chao Xing started to explore other functions in the Lord interface. Clicking on the crafting interface, a slew of basic tools appeared. Such as stone axe, stone hammer, stone pickaxe, wooden bowl, wooden table, wooden chair, wooden bed, etc. Chao Xing reviewed them and got the gist. Here, I can craft simple work tools or furniture items. Then, he began to check out the chat channel feature, revealing 4 options. World channel, all servers, limited to 1 message per person per day. Regional channel, this is a 500 by 500 km square area, including all survivors in the area, with no message limit. Team channel, only survivors within your territory can speak here, with no message limit. Private chat channel, 1-on-1 unlimited chatting. Chao Xing opened the world channel and was greeted by a flood of information. Zhao Xingbing, good heavens. Why did I suddenly come to this godforsaken place? I'm freezing to death. Chen area, help. So cold, so cold. Zhang Chang, didn't the system say we be allocated according to family? Who are these folks? I don't know any of them. Bell Grills, a survival game? I like it, this presents an unprecedented challenge for me. Chapter Yamagami 4, Child, you are invincible. Once again shine brightly. Chao Xing mused to himself, just as I expected. Besides me, don't let me find out who's played this in advance, or I'll smash everyone is in a state of utter ignorance. If they don't take action and quickly adapt to this world, a lot of people might die on the first night. Even though they were currently in a beginner protection period, and no monsters would attack the camp. The cold at night was no joke. Just then, Chao Xing heard a frantic knocking at the door. Bang! 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 Lord! Something has happened. Lord! Please help me. Hearing the cries for help, Chao Xing frowned, feeling a bad premonition. He quickly tossed the small wooden shield to Lu Muxue and took out a wooden magic wand, preparing for battle. When he pushed open the Lord's hut door, he saw 2 polar people huddled together, fear in their eyes. Chao Xing asked, what happened? Erzwang quickly replied, Lord. There's a snake. In that grove, there's a huge snow poison snake. It bit Dazhuang, and he's fading fast. Chao Xing looked over, and Dazhuang's face was turning purple, his body trembling. At the same time, purple numbers of -2, -2 kept appearing above Dazhuang's head. It was a sign of severe poisoning. Seeing this, a look of concern also appeared in Lu Muxue's eyes. Chao Xing checked Dazhuang's attributes. Polar people, Dazhuang. Level, 1 level 0 out of 100. Life value, 52/140. Current status, poisoned, level 1 snake venom. Seeing this poison status, Chao Xing felt relieved. Don't worry, it's just level 1 snake venom. Madam, just cast a purification skill. Lu Muxue seemed a little confused, but she quickly understood. Then, Lu Muxue raised her right hand, and a colorful aurora condensed in her palm. May the holy aurora bless you. Lu Muxue's cool voice rang out. With those words, the aurora entered Dazhuang's body. At the same time, Dazhuang felt a pure power surge in, melting the snake venom like ice and snow. His complexion gradually improved. Dazhuang gratefully said, "Thank you, great and kind lords." However, although Dazhuang was free from the snake venom, he still looked weak. His life value had dropped to half, indicating he was in an injured state. Without a medical room, treating injuries was troublesome. Chao Xing checked his skill bar. Besides an ice ball skill, there was an ice healing skill. Then, Chao Xing raised his magic wand, and an unusual frost power gathered within it. With a wave of his hand, the frost power surged into Dazhuang's body. The next moment, green numbers of +3 continuously appeared above Dazhuang's head. Then, a system prompt appeared. Successful use of ice healing skill, talent, eternal power, activated. This skill has become a permanent state. Hearing this prompt, Chao Xing's jaw dropped in shock. Holy crap! Healing skill works too, Ewab novel. Calm. He recalled the introduction of this talent. Eternal power makes all friendly units within the territory, when receiving a temporary boost, permanently gain the boosted state. But to have a healing skill also classified as a boost was something Chao Xing had never considered. At that moment, sheer joy appeared in Chao Xing's eyes. Because it meant Dazhuang now had an infinite healing buff. Watching Dazhuang's continuously recovering life value, Chao Xing couldn't help but marvel. Kid, you're invincible. Of course, Chao Xing's current spiritual strength was low, so he could only restore 3 life points. Even though Dazhuang could heal infinitely, if he encountered an enemy that was too strong, a single slap could still end him, so he wasn't truly invincible. Before long, Dazhuang's life value was fully restored, and he was lively once more. At this moment, an excited Dazhuang exclaimed, "Lord, I feel a healing power within me, constantly restoring my life." Chao Xing nodded knowingly. "Thank you, Lord. Your power is so great and vast." Dazhuang's loyalty to you increased, current loyalty, 80. Chao Xing began pondering a question. If the ice healing skill could infinitely heal polar people, then could it also work on him or Lu Muxue? Chao Xing thought for a moment, then cast an ice healing skill on Lu Muxue. The same system prompt appeared. Successful use of ice healing skill, talent, eternal power, activated. This skill has become a permanent state. Chao Xing and Lu Muxue widened their eyes, and both saw the shock mirrored in each other's pupils. Holy crap! This talent could also work on human survivors. Chao Xing could only say, "This is incredible." This meant his survival capability would experience a qualitative leap. He was eager to cast a green light on himself. As he was about to raise his magic wand, his head suddenly felt dizzy, almost causing him to faint. Chao Xing shook his head and quickly realized the reason. Because my spiritual power is insufficient, releasing 2 ice healing skills is my limit. Restoring spiritual power requires rest or eating. However, the urgent task now was to expel or kill the venomous snake in that grove. Otherwise, the source of the territory's would be cut off. Currently, the team had 2 beings with infinite healing, and they should be able to handle ordinary beasts. Chao Xing said directly, "Let's go, follow me to deal with that snake." The 2 polar people raised their stone axes and shouted, "Follow the Lord's steps." Then, He led Dazhuang, Erzwang, and Lu Muxue out of the Lord's hut. As for Xizhuang and Xizhuang, they were busily transporting stones into the territory. Stone +1. Stone +1. System prompts appeared continuously. Chao Xing nodded in satisfaction. Before long, they stepped out of the bonfire's range. In an instant, the temperature dropped by more than 10 degrees. The cold rushed in like invisible blades, continuously slicing through everyone. Waves of stinging pain struck. Lu Muxue instantly shrank, her body trembling with cold. Even Chao Xing felt his body stiffen. With temperatures at -50 degrees, without the polar people's constitution and cold-resistant clothing, they couldn't last a few minutes before turning into icicles. Fortunately, the grove Chao Xing headed for was not far from the bonfire, just over 100 meters away. The four of them walked across the snow, leaving a trail of footprints. Before long, they reached the small forest, where dozens of white birch trees were planted sparsely, their branches covered in ice and snow. Lord! That poison snake is over there. Following the direction of Dazhuang's point, Chao Xing indeed saw a large snake about 2 meters long, coiled on a tree branch. Hiss! Hiss hiss! The snow-poisoned snake, entirely snow-white, stuck out its crimson forked tongue at the fore, posing a threat. Chao Xing saw the attributes of the poison snake in front of him. Snow-poisoned snake, level 2. Race, beast. Life value, 160/160. Attack power, 810. Attributes, power 4, agility 7, spirit 5, constitution 8. Skills, raid, neurotoxin. Note, this is a snake adapted to polar conditions, having undergone unknown evolutions. A level 2 beast, no wonder Dazhuang and Erzwang together couldn't defeat it. Even with Chao Xing, they would have to approach carefully to withstand it. But now, things were different. Because in his team, there were 2 beings with infinite healing. Of course, Lu Muxue currently had no combat power. Chao Xing brought her along just to help her adapt to the battle rhythm of this world. Lu Muxue was a smart woman. She understood Chao Xing's intention and was swiftly acclimating to everything in this world. Dazhuang, attack! Chao Xing ordered directly. As the words fell, Dazhuang charged forward with his stone axe raised. With a loyalty of 80 points, he could basically follow orders without hesitation, never defying Chao Xing's commands. Hiss hiss! The snow-poisoned snake's body arched and then shot out like a spring. Whoosh! Like a white shadow, it flashed by in an instant, biting Dazhuang on the shoulder. Its sharp fangs pierced through the thick icy snow clothing and into Dazhuang's flesh. -6. The next moment, purple numbers of -2, -2 appeared once again above Dazhuang's head. Dazhuang was poisoned again. Yet, after a while, green numbers of +3, +3 emerged. A look of joy appeared on Dazhuang's face. I have the Lord's blessing upon me. You, evil creature, can no longer harm me. With that, Dazhuang reached out his large hand and grabbed the snow-poisoned snake by the neck. Then with a swing of the stone axe, he struck down. Chapter 5, First Kill Reward, Snake Man Tribe Priest Recruitment Scroll. Puff! This axe strike carved a bloody gash into the smooth body of the snow-poisoned snake, skin and flesh splitting open instantly. -8. A damage number floated up. The snow-poisoned snake, in pain, bit down even harder. However, in an infinite healing state, Dazhuang fought as if he was on stimulants. He grabbed the snow-poisoned snake and started slashing and hacking chaotically. Slash! 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 -10. -9. -9. The sound of flesh being hit repeatedly echoed. After several bites, the snow-poisoned snake seemed to realize something was amiss. Its life value was continuously decreasing, quickly dropping below 80. Yet, this opponent, clearly weaker, was still lively and vigorous after all this. The snake was bewildered. It also realized that the enemy in front of it was in an unusual state. Twisting its body, it turned around, trying to slip away. Chao Xing had been watching the actions of the snow-poisoned snake from the back, and upon seeing this situation, he quickly said from behind, "Don't let it escape, Erzwang, you join in too." "At your service, my lord." Erzwang obeyed the order, rushing up to tangle with the snow-poisoned snake. With Erzwang's joining, the life value of the snow-poisoned snake decreased even more quickly. Slash! 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 Two stone axes continued slashing at the snake's body. In no time, its life value dropped below 30. Meanwhile, after a brief rest, Chao Xing also recovered a bit of spiritual power. So, he raised his magic wand, and the nearby frost power gathered. In a short while, a fist-sized ice ball formed at the tip of Chao Xing's magic wand. "Go! Mummy!" Chao Xing flicked his wand. The ice ball catapulted out instantly. It landed on the snow-poisoned snake, and with a pop, it exploded. 21. An exaggerated damage number emerged from the snow-poisoned snake. The enemy's life value hit 0, collapsing completely. A system prompt appeared. Successfully killed snow-poisoned snake LV2, you gain 30 experience points. Combat personnel, Dazhuang gained 15 experience points, Erzwang gained 15 experience points. Congratulations! You are the first creature in this area to kill a wild creature, earning a first kill reward, Snake Man Tribe Priest Recruitment Scroll *1. Seeing the power of the Ice Ball skill, a shock appeared in the eyes of Dazhuang and Erzwang. "My lord, your power is intimidating. Our lord is so powerful." Chao Xing glanced at them lightly. These polar people were always amazed by trivial things. The profession of a frost mage was like this, with high damage also comes high consumption. This one ice ball skill directly drained the spiritual power he had barely recovered. Meanwhile, Chao Xing came to the corpse of the snow-poisoned snake, and a system prompt appeared before him. Snow-poisoned snake corpse, can be decomposed. Chao Xing directly clicked decompose. In an instant, the body of the snow-poisoned snake vanished. Then, on the icy snow ground appeared a torn snake skin, more than a dozen segments of fresh red snake meat, and a purple poison bag. Torn snake skin, white, *1. Though torn, it can still be used to make simple leather clothes. Fresh snake meat, green, *17. Fresh snake meat, 1 piece of snake meat equals 5 food units. Poison bag, green, *1. A snake's poison bag, when smeared on a weapon, may have unexpected effects. Seeing the items on the ground, a look of surprise appeared in Chao Xing's eyes. Whoa! So much snake meat, and a snake skin, this is a big haul. 17 pieces of snake meat meant a total of 85 food units. And the most crucial part was that apart from dry bread, they now had new food. And it was fresh, delicious snake meat. At this moment, Dazhuang and Erzwang were staring intently at the fresh red snake meat on the ground, the sound of gulping saliva continuously heard. Meat. It's meat. Heavens! How many years has it been since we've seen meat? Erzwang, pinch me, am I dreaming? Polar people were creatures living in the subterranean world for long periods, seldom able to eat fresh meat. Chao Xing was unaware of their way of life, but from previous conversations with some polar people, he could infer that their living environment was probably very harsh. Erzwang pulled Dazhuang's goatee and exclaimed, "Dazhuang, you're not dreaming, this is real meat. Oh my god, if someone would let me taste delicious meat, I would give my life for them." Chao Xing knew that these polar people were saying it for him to hear. "Alright, you all speed up your work, tonight everyone gets to drink snake soup." Hearing this, Dazhuang and Erzwang immediately sprang up from the ground, shouting loudly. "Long live the Lord! We'll get to work right away." Then, the two polar people, wielding stone axes, enthusiastically went off to chop wood. Watching their energetic demeanor, Chao Xing collected all the materials on the ground. He looked at Lu Muxue, who was standing to the side, and said, "Sister-in-law, did you remember? When encountering enemies in the wild, you also need to fight like this to defeat them." Lu Muxue hugged a shield to her chest and nodded firmly, I remember, axing." Chao Xing nodded in acknowledgement, then led her back near the bonfire. The moment they stepped into the fire's coverage, the coldness was significantly dispelled. Hiss! The two of them shivered instantly. This time, they had been active outside for roughly 7 minutes. According to Chao Xing's estimation, their maximum current activity time was 15 minutes. If they could make cold-resistant clothing, their activity time could be greatly extended. Chao Xing glanced at his territory's resources. Food *135, wood *36, stone *54. Still not enough materials to craft a sewing shop, it seems it won't be made today. So, are there any other ways to resist the severe cold? Chao Xing turned his gaze to the polar people nearby, clad in thick snow suits. Clearly, the set of clothes these polar people wore was very thick and had excellent cold-resisting features. It's likely that most survivors at this point were considering using some forceful means to seize these polar people's clothing. But it's advised not to do so. Because once you kill the first polar person, the goodwill of this race will immediately drop by 50%. When you kill the second polar person, you will become directly hostile to this race. Not only will you be unable to recruit polar people to work for you, but any polar people encountered on the road will also launch attacks on your camp. Chao Xing mused internally, "Forget it, let's just hang on like this for today. Probably by tomorrow, enough wood and stones will be gathered to build a sewing shop." At this moment, Chao Xing recalled the first kill reward that the system just gave, which seemed to be a recruitment scroll. After taking it out from his backpack, the scroll's attributes appeared before him. Snake Man Tribe Priest Recruitment Scroll, can summon a level 5 Snake Man Tribe Priest to assist the Lord in battle. Occupies 2 population. Seeing this system introduction, a look of joy instantly appeared on Chao Xing's face. Goodness, it's actually a scroll that can summon a level 5 creature. This reward is really nice. However, the Snake Man tribe, this race, was something Chao Xing had never encountered in the game before, so he didn't know what they were like. Of course, it could also be because Chao Xing hadn't developed to the later stages, and hadn't explored the full range of that game. The vastness of this world exceeded Chao Xing's imagination. Do you want to consume the scroll to summon the Snake Man tribe priest? Yes. With the words spoken, a hexagram array emerged in front of Chao Xing out of thin air. The next moment, the hexagram array emitted a dazzling light. Lu Muxue, beside him, was also curiously watching Chao Xing's actions. Meanwhile, they suddenly felt as if a strong, cold aura had descended. Then, the cold wind blew. A winding, white-bodied creature appeared. The 5-meter-long snake body was covered in scales, and the slender tail swung casually in the snow. And atop this serpentine body, there was a human female head. With elongated eyes and chiseled features, one glance exposed an air of enchantment. Chao Xing and Lu Muxue, both stunned, gazed at this towering snake woman. Wow! What a massive snake! Lu Muxue's small mouth hung slightly open. Chao Xing, also seeing such a creature for the first time, found it beyond his expectations. So this is the Snake Man tribe? Truly living up to its name. At this moment, the snake-bodied human-headed creature locked eyes with Chao Xing using its ghostly green pupils. It opened its dark purple lips and softly spoke. "Esteemed Lord, Yelena, the priest of the Snake Man tribe, at your service." The attributes of this snake man appeared before Chao Xing. Chapter 6, Discovering Wild Coal Mines. Priest of the Snake Man tribe, Yelena. Race, Snake Man. Level, 5, 132/4000. Life value, 480. Attack power, 5154, weapon bonus. Attributes, power 21, agility 17, spirit 18, constitution 24. Skills, scale armor, can provide 10 extra armor for oneself or ally, cooling time 90 seconds. Snake Man Tribe Frenzy, gives berserk effect to oneself or ally, move speed plus 20%, attack speed plus 20% for 60 seconds, cooling time 120 seconds. Frost Ice Bloodline, can survive longer in extreme weather. Hunger level, 67. Loyalty, 68. Wow! Such strong attributes, truly worthy of a level 5 creature. Chao Xing was amazed. Moreover, the crucial thing was that Chao Xing saw Yelena's 2 skills, Snake Man Tribe Frenzy and Scale Armor. These 2 skills were both buff-type skills. With his own SSS level talent, they were equivalent to a permanent increase of 10 armor. For easy calculation, 1 point of armor offset 1 point of attack power. For ordinary creatures like polar people, 1 point of power roughly equaled 2 points of physical attack power. Depending on profession and race talent, power bonuses to attack vary between 1.5 attack power to 3 physical attack power. In other words, apart from Dazhuang, the other polar people's attacks hardly posed any effective damage to Chao Xing. This showed how terrifying the boost from this skill could be in the early stages. The other skill, Snake Man Tribe Frenzy, increased move speed and attack speed by 20%, a percentage boost skill that was even more frightening. At this moment, Chao Xing felt as if he had found treasure. Suppressing his excitement, Chao Xing said, "Yelena, please cast the Snake Man Tribe Frenzy skill on us first." In this world, he obviously needed to seize every opportunity to enhance his power. Yelena flicked her scarlet tongue and said, "With pleasure, my lord." As she spoke, Yelena raised her spear, and a red energy gathered around it. Then she pointed her spear, and the energy fell upon Chao Xing. In an instant, Chao Xing felt a surge of hot energy flowing through his body, significantly boosting his hand speed and move speed. Casting Snake Man Tribe Frenzy successfully, Talent Eternal Power activated, the skill has become permanent. Seeing this prompt, Chao Xing clenched his fists in excitement. It really worked. Meanwhile, Yelena raised her spear again, and a white energy fell upon her own body. Chao Xing felt an invisible scale forming over him. Casting Scale Armor successfully, Talent Eternal Power activated, the skill has become permanent. This layer of scale was extremely hard and smooth, and only appeared when attacked. This meant that normally, Chao Xing appeared as an ordinary person. Chao Xing exclaimed excitedly, "Great, great, with this, my defensive power has skyrocketed." After the skill's cooling time ended, Chao Xing had Yelena cast the same 2 statuses on both himself and Lu Muxue. After the talent activation prompt sounded, Yelena also found that the power in her body did not disappear as before, but remained permanently. She was somewhat puzzled, then when Chao Xing used a permanent ice healing skill on her, Yelena understood the reason. "My lord, your power truly is immense and unfathomable, it stays permanently within me." Chao Xing had a somewhat strange look in his eyes. Why did it feel like something was off with that statement? Shaking his head, Chao Xing began thinking about other matters. This berserk skill could increase speed by 20%. In other words, if he could apply it to all 4 polar people, their work efficiency would increase. So, Chao Xing asked, "Yelena, can you continue casting skills?" Yelena gently shook her head, "My lord, these skills consume my spiritual power, I need some time to recover." Chao Xing nodded. Then, he turned to look at the 4 polar people working in the distance. At that moment, Dazhuang and Erzhuang were each jogging over with a bundle of processed wood. Xizhuang and Forzhuang were carrying several stones. Watching the 4 little dwarfs running across the snow was somewhat comical. They placed the materials near the bonfire where they would automatically disappear, prompting a series of system prompts. Wood +5. Wood +5. Stone +3. Stone +3. Chao Xing calculated their round-trip time to be about 10 minutes. There was still an hour and a half until nightfall. This meant that before dark, they could gather up to 90 wood and 54 stones for Chao Xing. I need more labor, but I can only build one polar people hut. May 30th, 5:17 p.m., Mummy, to recruit more polar people, I have to upgrade the polar people hut. A level 2 polar people hut can recruit 4 more polar people, greatly increasing work efficiency. But at the same time, these polar people will consume more food and occupy my population cap. Chao Xing glanced at his population. Population, 8/50ths. Level 1 territory's maximum population cap is 50, can increase by upgrading Lord's hut. At this moment, Xizhuang ran over to Chao Xing's side and spoke. My lord, I have something to report to you. Chao Xing looked at Xizhuang, what's the matter? Xizhuang replied, when Forzhuang and I were gathering stones, we discovered a small coal mine about 300 to 400 meters ahead on the right. However, there seemed to be 2 snow wolves guarding it, so we didn't dare to approach. I'm concerned that the snow wolves might pose a threat to our camp, so I came to report to you, my lord. Upon hearing the word coal mine, Chao Xing's eyes instantly lit up. As we know, coal is a more advanced energy material than wood, not only burning longer but also emitting more heat. If he could seize the coal mine, it would save him a lot of wood for constructing other facilities. Chao Xing quickly asked, do you know the strength of those snow wolves, and how many are there? Xizhuang nodded, we watched for a while and currently, we've only seen 2 snow wolves. These snow wolves appear to be slightly stronger than that snow poison snake. Upon hearing this, Chao Xing's grin grew wider. 2 snow wolves, according to Xizhuang, slightly stronger than the snow poison snake, would be around level 3 to 4 monsters. Before summoning Yelena, Chao Xing wasn't confident in facing them. But now, he could devise a plan to take over that coal mine. So, Chao Xing nodded, Xizhuang, excellent work. Tonight, I'll reward you and Forzhuang with a portion of snake meat. At the mention of snake meat for dinner, Xizhuang's eyes almost sparkled like stars. He nodded excitedly, thank you for your generosity, my lord. Xizhuang will do his utmost to contribute to you. After speaking, Xizhuang continued his short-legged strides back to collecting stones. Lu Muxue also heard their conversation and asked nervously, Axing, is it time for combat? Chao Xing nodded, yes, the coal mine is an important resource, it's better to secure it sooner. A trace of fear appeared in Lu Muxue's eyes, but she mustered the courage to say, I will fight alongside you. Chao Xing didn't refuse. Although the snow wolves were formidable, Lu Muxue had already been enhanced with 3 permanent buffs. Both defensive power and recovery ability were greatly improved, and with Yelena at level 5, handling 2 snow wolves shouldn't be an issue. However, before combat, he could use some items to increase combat power. Chao Xing took out a purple poison bag from his backpack. Poison bag of the snow poison snake, green. Effect, apply to weapon to inflict level 1 poisoned state for the next 15 attacks. Remaining uses, 10 times. Chao Xing applied the poison liquid to Yelena's trident and Lu Muxue's ordinary stone axe. Their weapons glowed with a faint purple light. Having finished these preparations, Chao Xing nodded and said, then, let's set out now. Saying this, he raised his simple wooden staff and headed into the snow. Yelena, holding the long spear, led the way. Her snake-like body slithered across the snow, leaving a distinct trail. Chao Xing and Lu Muxue followed behind her. Shoo! Shoo! The farther from the bonfire they went, the thicker the snow on the ground became, nearly reaching their ankles. The cold pierced deeper and deeper. After about 4 minutes, they arrived at the location Xizhuang had mentioned. Indeed, there was a dark mine shaft, and beside it, a pile of mined coal lay stacked. Small coal mine, special resource point. Remaining resources available for mining, coal *1754, stone *754, dirt *5360. Current status, cannot be occupied. Chapter 7, Big Bang. Seeing the introduction of this coal mine, Chao Xing's eyes instantly lit up. So many resources. If they could occupy this coal mine, they would not have to worry about resources in the short term. However, the mine was currently in an unoccupiable state. This was because there were enemies inside the mine. They saw two snow-white figures moving about inside. It seemed they sensed the dangerous aura emanating from Yelena. The two snow wolves emerged one after another. Ayo! Their all-white fur, 2-meter-long bodies, and protruding fangs exuded a strong oppressive feeling. The two snow wolves stood at the entrance of the mine, their limbs tense, warily watching Yelena and growling threateningly. Chao Xing saw the attributes of the snow wolves. Snow wolf, level 3. Race, beast. Life value, 220/220. Attack power, 1618. Attributes, power 8, agility 9, spirit 7, constitution 11. Skills, tear, pounce. Race talent, wolf pack effect. If the number of snow wolves participating in the battle reaches 10 or more, the wolf pack talent is activated, increasing attack power and move speed by 20%. Sure enough, they were level 3 snow wolves, and the attributes of the other wolf were quite similar. Chao Xing realized this. Fortunately, there were only 2 snow wolves here. If there had been more, it would have triggered their race talent, and Chao Xing would have had to run away. But now, looking at the thick fur on the 2 snow wolves, Chao Xing saw them as if they were slick, enticing young women. Hee hee hee. Little snow wolves, kindly offer up your fur. At that moment, Lu Muxue and Yelena turned their heads to look at Chao Xing. Chao Xing froze, extremely embarrassed. Damn it, did he just say his thoughts out loud? The 2 snow wolves also seemed to know that Chao Xing and his companions were not to be trifled with, keeping their heads low and continuously issuing threatening growls. Snake Man Yelena opened her crimson forked tongue, not showing any weakness. SSS. SSSSS. The atmosphere between the 2 sides was incredibly tense. Meanwhile, Lu Muxue was a bit nervous, holding up her wooden shield. After several seconds of standoff, the snow wolves were the first to lose their patience. They fiercely pounced toward them. Ayo! Lu Muxue held up her shield, feeling immense pressure from the snow wolves' massive 2-meter bodies. Her slim yet slightly meaty legs trembled slightly. Just then, Chao Xing's voice came from behind, "Saozi, raise your shield, block its attack. Don't worry, your attributes can take it." In the midst of chaos, Lu Muxue, upon hearing this, felt as if she had found her backbone and instinctively did as told. She raised her shield, and the snow wolf's claws swiped at that moment. Bang! Lu Muxue let out a soft gasp. After the impact, the anticipated scene of Lu Muxue being flung away did not happen. A layer of snow-white scales appeared on her arm, greatly reducing the impact. Did it block it? Lu Muxue was surprised by the scene before her. Chao Xing praised from behind, "Saozi, well done." With Chao Xing's encouragement, Lu Muxue gained more confidence. She took a deep breath, making her proud chest rise significantly. Lu Muxue repeatedly raised her shield, withstanding the snow wolf's attacks. Bang! 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 The sounds of impacts continued, but Lu Muxue gritted her teeth and didn't take a step back. The muscles on her legs, covered in white silk, tensed, and her rounded buttocks trembled intermittently. It was evident that Lu Muxue must work out regularly, as holding the shield showcased her perfect body curves unquestionably. Saozi, besides withstanding the attacks, remember to use the other hand with a weapon to strike back at the enemy. Chao Xing was instructing Lu Muxue on how to fight. Lu Muxue did exactly that. Seizing the moment when the snow wolf missed a swipe with its paw, she raised her stone axe and chopped towards the snow wolf's head. PSH. -8. -2. -2. The numbers in front represented the slashing damage caused by Lu Muxue, while the latter represented the additional snake venom effect. Although the damages were low compared to the snow wolf's over 200 life points, it still gave Lu Muxue confidence. So, I can also block these monsters. Then, Lu Muxue gradually found her rhythm of attack. PSH. PSH. -8. -9. -14. Critical damage. She blocked the snow wolf's attack while looking for an opportunity to counterattack. Chao Xing was behind her, gathering the ice ball skill. Snap. -19. The damage from the ice ball skill wasn't as high as the first time. This was because the snow wolf is a level 3 creature with higher defensive power than the snow poison snake. The two working together against this snow wolf was somewhat scary but manageable. As for the snake man Yelena beside them, she was single-handedly suppressing another snow wolf. Her spear was so sharp. Each thrust would puncture several bloody holes in the snow wolf's body. -37. -2. -32. -2. In no time, this snow wolf's life value had been reduced to less than half. On the other hand, every claw strike from the snow wolf that hit Yelena was greatly reduced by her scaly shell, inflicting damage in single digits only. During this time, green +3 would appear over Yelena's head. In no time, her life value was replenished. This sight made the snow wolf in front feel despair. How could it fight against an enemy that healed infinitely? In less than 30 seconds, Yelena had killed the snow wolf. Your territory member, Yelena has killed Snow Wolf LV3, gained 40 experience points. You gained 20 experience points. Lu Muxue received the same system prompt. After Yelena finished the fight here, she quickly twisted her body to help Chao Xing with his fight. With Yelena's addition, the subsequent battle had no suspense. The last snow wolf cried out in sorrow before collapsing dead. Chao Xing and Lu Muxue both sighed in relief. As modern people, this was their first time fighting in such a manner. Although Chao Xing seemed calm, he was actually quite nervous inside. If Lu Muxue couldn't hold on, his slight frame would stand even less of a chance against the snow wolf's attacks. Fortunately, Lu Muxue did not disappoint. Chao Xing walked over, saw the pale-faced Lu Muxue, and patted her back, saying, "Saozi, you worked hard, your performance was really good." After hearing this, Lu Muxue nodded lightly, and some of the tension in her heart dissipated. Chao Xing shifted his gaze. At that moment, there were 2 wolf corpses on the ground. Snow Wolf Corpse *2 can be disassembled. Chao Xing immediately clicked to disassemble. A white light enveloped the 2 wolf corpses, and a second later, a pile of materials appeared on the ground. Slightly damaged wolf skin, green *2. Thick wolf skin, can be made into coats with decent cold resistance. Fresh wolf meat, green *134. Chewy wolf meat, 1 piece of wolf meat equals 5 food. Snow wolf skeleton, green *32. Hard bones, you can use them to make simple armor or weapons, or maybe even for making soup. Wolf teeth, green *11. Sharp wolf teeth, you can use them to make arrows, or tie them onto sticks to make spears. Frost Wolf Knight Recruitment Scroll, blue *1. A scroll imbued with the power of a contract, you can immediately summon a powerful level 10 Frost Wolf Knight, but make sure you have enough food before doing so. Seeing all these materials on the ground, shock deepened in Chao Xing's eyes. Damn! This is a fantastic loot haul. Chao Xing was overjoyed. 2 wolf skins directly solved their raw material needs for making cold-resistant clothing. It was an urgent need just addressed. No need to mention the wolf meat, easily over 100 portions that, if rationed properly, would last them half a month. And, of course, the most extravagant item was that Frost Wolf Warrior recruitment scroll. It could actually summon a level 10 creature, even more powerful than Yelena. Joy also appeared on Lu Mushue's face. She too understood the high value of these resources. That's great, Axing. Chao Xing nodded. He picked up a white wolf skin from the ground and draped it over Lu Mushue. Although not yet made into a coat, just these 2 wolf skins had a great warming effect. Lu Mushue immediately felt a wave of warmth envelop her and, gratefully looking at Chao Xing, said, "Thank you, Axing." "You're welcome, Saozi." Chao Xing replied, then draped the other wolf skin over himself. In an instant, the harsh cold of this world was much dispelled. Re-web null. C sigma m. Chao Xing couldn't help but reflect. Finally, he was no longer fighting in the snow in shorts and a t-shirt. Chapter 8, Ancient Weapon, Barret. Chao Xing had collected the other materials on the ground. Afterward, he came to the coal mine, full of anticipation. System prompt, a small unclaimed coal mine has been discovered. Do you wish to occupy it? Yes. System prompt, occupation successful, you have obtained a small coal mine *1, you have obtained a bronze treasure box *1. System prompt, congratulations. As the first survivor in all servers to occupy a resource point, you have been awarded, Ancient Weapon Barret, purple, *1, 12. 7mm ammunition *10 rounds. Chao Xing. What the hell? Barret? Did I hear that right? However, when Chao Xing saw the heavy sniper rifle lying in the snow before him, its entire body painted black and its barrel a full meter long, he confirmed his guess. This really is a Barret. But then again, he thought about it, and it seemed normal. After all, this world is a mix of science and magic. Cold iron mechanics could eventually pilot Gundams and summon bomber fleets in the later stages, so what was a Barret in comparison? With this in mind, Chao Xing joyfully picked up the Barret and the bullets from the ground. Ancient Weapon Barret, purple. Quality, rare. Attack power, 967-993. Attack interval, 2 seconds per attack. Attached effect 1, armor penetration, there's a 50% chance to ignore 100 points of the enemy's armor when attacking. Attached effect 2, headshot, when attacking the head, inflict an additional 50% damage. Holy shit. This is freaking awesome. Without a doubt, this was a real killing machine. With more than 900 attack power in the early stages, it was like a god-slaying weapon, unstoppable by anything. Plus the 2 additional effects, if both triggered, monsters below level 20 couldn't withstand a single shot. Even though he was a mage, who said mages couldn't use the Barret? Sadly, Chao Xing only had 10 rounds of ammunition. Chao Xing thought, I remember, after the territory levels up to level 4, some new technological buildings like, Bullet Factory, and, small Snowland Robot Production Workshop, would be unlocked. Then, I won't have to worry about bullets. Pleased, Chao Xing tucked the Barret into his backpack. At this moment, he remembered another prompt from the system. In addition to the coal mine resources, there was also a bronze treasure box. In other words, there might actually be a treasure box inside. So Chao Xing turned his head and said, Saozi, I'm going to check inside the mine. You start by collecting the coal scattered here. Lu Mushue nodded lightly, After speaking, Chao Xing jumped straight into the mine. It was just a small mine, stretching no more than 4 to 5 meters deep. In the soil nearby, one could see the lumps of black coal and stone, clearly indicating the richness of its resources. According to the system, over 1,700 pieces of coal could still be mined here. Based on the standard ratio of 1 coal equals 5 wood, the resources here could last him for quite some time. Chao Xing even considered sending some polar people over to start mining right now. But, at present, the 4 polar people in the territory were all busy with tasks, and there were no spare hands for this stage. Chao Xing mused to himself, it seems I need to prioritize upgrading the polar people hut. I must recruit more labor, otherwise, these veins will remain unmined. However, more pressing at the moment was finding the treasure box within this coal mine. Chao Xing made his way to the end of the mine, and in the pitch black, he discovered a bronze-colored treasure box. This is it. The system prompt appeared. System prompt, an unlocked bronze treasure box *1 has been found. Would you like to open it? Chao Xing clicked, yes, right away. System prompt, bronze treasure box successfully opened, you have obtained believer's staff, green, *1. You have obtained snow boots, white, *2. You have obtained a medical bag *1, food *15, fine iron *5. You have obtained market construction blueprints *1. Huh? A market construction blueprint? Chao Xing's eyes lit up. Only after building a market could one trade with other survivors. Although only a few hours had passed since Chao Xing arrived in this world, given over 7 billion humans had been transported to Blue Star, with such a huge population, many would have already built a market. Chao Xing looked over the blueprint's description. Market, after construction, trade resources with other survivors. Note, before merging, you can only trade with other survivors within your territory. Occupied space, 20 square meters. Construction materials required, stone *15, wood *30. Chao Xing thoughtfully said, so, I can only trade with survivors in my own region for now. But that's not a big deal. Area 174 also has tens of thousands of people, there should be plenty of supplies circulating in the market. Chao Xing then began to check the other 2 pieces of equipment he had just acquired. Believer's staff, green, quality, fine, attack power, 1518, spirit +3, attached effect, believer's grip, when attacking, there's a 20% chance to increase the user's spirit by +10. Note, staff of a zealous believer, shout the words, black stockings or justice, during battle for unexpected effects. Who the hell is going to shout that, damn it? It's white stockings that are justice, okay? Chao Xing was speechless, feeling that this system's note was somewhat frivolous. He began to check the second piece of equipment. Snow boots, white, quality, common, armor, none, special effects, none. Note, with good resistance to cold, these snow boots can help you walk better in snow and ice. Another piece of cold weather gear. Barrett thought with happiness. There were 2 pairs of these snow boots, one for him and one for Lu Muxue each. Thus, he took off his black leather shoes and put on the fleece-covered snow boots. His feet, nearly frozen and numb, were now wrapped in waves of warmth. Barrett nodded in satisfaction. There was another item in the treasure box. Medical bag, white, can be used to treat injuries or common illnesses, restores 100 life value. Note, a simple medical bag that can cure common symptoms caused by the weather, such as colds, fevers, frostbites, etc. This, too, was a lifesaver, especially before constructing a medical room. After all, some ailments not even the Aurora Knight's purification skill could dispel. After checking once more to ensure there was nothing else in the coal mine, Barrett prepared to leave. But before he left, he conveniently dismantled the treasure box. System prompt, successfully dismantled bronze treasure box, obtained copper *5. Barrett crawled out of the mine shaft. Upon seeing him come out, Lu Muxue spoke softly, axing, I've gathered all the coal from the ground. There are 112 pieces in total, enough for us to use for a long time. Joy of the harvest was on her face. Barrett nodded and said, well done, Saozi. Here, take these snow boots first. After speaking, Barrett placed the boots at Lu Muxue's feet. He noticed that Lu Muxue's legs were frozen red, her 10 toes tightly clenched, trembling continuously between her thighs. It had been 5 or 6 minutes since they emerged. In another few minutes, if they don't return to the bonfire, Lu Mushue's legs might be completely ruined by the cold. Although Lu Mushue was very eager for the snow boots, she also knew how precious they were in this extreme environment. "Can I really have these boots?" Lu Mushue tentatively asked. Barrett laughed and said, "Of course, I've already got a pair, and Yelena doesn't have legs, who else could wear them but you?" Lu Mushue no longer refused but whispered, "Thank you." Axing. Barrett waved his hand, urging her to hurry and put them on. Right then, Lu Mushue somewhat embarrassedly said, "Axing. Could you help me a bit? My legs aren't really listening to me." After saying that, her cheeks reddened to the tips of her ears. Without overthinking, Barrett stepped up beside her and let Lu Mushue place one of her hands on his shoulder. A faint fragrance wafted to his nose. Lu Mushue, wrapping her arm around Barrett's neck, struggled to lift her right leg. Seeing her condition, Barrett knew her legs had stiffened from the cold. "Saozi, let me help you put them on." As he spoke, without waiting for Lu Mushue to react, Barrett lifted her leg covered in white silk. Lu Mushue's body shuddered, her eyes suddenly widening. Barrett, without any superfluous thoughts, quickly helped her into both pairs of snow boots, then bent down. "Saozi, I will carry you back to camp." Upon hearing this, Lu Mushue became even more shy. But she knew that in her current state, she must return to camp to warm up quickly. It's trouble for you," Lu Mushue softly replied. The next moment, a pair of slender arms wrapped around Barrett's neck. Then, she felt a pair of large, powerful hands supporting her at the base of her thighs. As if it was the first time another man had touched her there, Lu Mushue let out slight breaths, her face quickly turning red down to her neck. Lu Mushue bowed her head deeply. Barrett felt the soft, delicate touch between his hands. He thought to himself, "This woman. Her body is so soft." Then, Barrett carried Lu Mushue, along with Yelena. The two people and one snake returned to the warmth of the camp. The heat from the bonfire came again. The stiffness in their bodies gradually dissipated. After settling Lu Mushue down, Barrett glanced at the sky, which was growing increasingly darker. There was half an hour left until nightfall. He needed to build a small shelter before dark so that Yelena could stay there overnight. Otherwise, the loyalty of these territory residents might decrease due to enduring the nighttime cold. Moreover, he needed to construct the market for trading with other survivors. Barrett checked the current territory resources. Food, bread *50, snake meat *17, wolf meat *134. Wood *97, coal *112, stone *62. Not bad, the materials for the logging factory and market are sufficient, and the remaining materials can build a small dwelling. So, Barrett shouted out to the distance, "Duzhuang, Erzwang, come back now." Upon hearing the command, the polar people put down their work and hurried back to the bonfire, shivering. Freeweb novel. Calm. "Lord, what do you need?" Barrett nodded, then began giving orders, "Duzhuang, Erzwang, you two build the logging factory. Sizhuang, the task of constructing the market is yours. Erzwang, you build a small dwelling." To that, Barrett added, "After you've done these, you can have your meal." Hearing the last sentence, the eyes of the four polar people brightened. "Rest assured, Lord, we'll complete the tasks before dark." "That's right, you can count on us to do the job, Lord." Chapter 9, Delicious Snake Soup. At that moment, Chao Xing heard a gurgle sound near his ear. It wasn't coming from him, but rather from Lu Mushue beside him. She wasn't someone with a particularly strong physique to begin with, and on top of that, she had just been through a battle, which had drained a great deal of her strength. So it was normal for her to be hungry. Seeing Chao Xing looking over, Lu Mushue's pretty face turned red, and she buried her head deeply. "No, sorry. Chao Xing shook his head and said, "Saozi, let's go inside first. It's time to start cooking." Lu Muxue nodded gently. Then, they entered the empty lord's hut. To cook, one must first build the stove. So, Chao Xing found a corner and then opened the construction interface to start building. Do you want to consume materials, stone *8, wood *4, to build a level 1 simple stove? Yes. Chao Xing started to build according to the blueprint provided by the system. In just a few minutes, a simple stove made of stone appeared in front of Chao Xing. Stove, level 1. Defense value, 30. Occupied space, 1 square meter. Chao Xing then took out the initial equipment provided by the system from the storage box, big black pot, white. Don't think it's just a big black pot, but it could actually be broken down into 2 pieces of iron. This time, Chao Xing planned to make a pot of snake soup. In this icy and snowy land, there was naturally no shortage of water sources. Chao Xing just needed to go outside with a hammer, knock off some ice, bring it back and put it in the pot, where it soon melted. After the water boiled, Chao Xing directly threw 2 palm-sized pieces of snake meat into the pot. These 2 pieces of snake meat were equal to 10 units of food supplies, which was quite luxurious. After contemplating for a moment, Chao Xing threw 2 more pieces of snake meat into the pot. A dozen minutes later, the rich aroma of the meat started to permeate the entire hut. Lu Muxue, who was huddled to one side, couldn't help but lift her head and swallow saliva as she gazed at the pot. "Saozi, it's almost ready, just wait a little longer." Lu Muxue, feeling embarrassed, lowered her head and responded softly, "Axing, let me handle the cooking in the future." After hearing this, Chao Xing laughed and said, "In the future, you are going to be the Lord's woman. How can we be the ones to do these tasks? Now we are short-handed, but once we recruit more forces, we won't need to cook ourselves." Hearing this, Lu Muxue also revealed a gentle smile, "Axing, you understand so much." Chao Xing shook his head, "It's nothing, I just play a lot of games, that's all." Outside, the sky turned increasingly dim. The temperature started to drop sharply as well. After the stove was lit, the temperature in the room had risen to -11 degrees C. But now, in the blink of an eye, it dropped back down to -16 degrees C. The temperature outside was an astonishing -50 degrees C. The howling wind, like a bone-scraping knife, incessantly swept over the bodies of the polar people. Under these temperature conditions, even with a bonfire, work couldn't continue. Unless, later on, the bonfire was upgraded to an energy tower, then even in blizzard conditions, one could safely get through. At this point, Chao Xing saw several prompts appear on the territory interface. Your territory building, the logging factory, has been successfully constructed. Your territory building, the small shelter, has been successfully constructed. Chao Xing breathed a sigh of relief. The tasks he had entrusted to the 4 polar people had all been completed before nightfall. So he went to the door of the Lord's hut and said, "Dazhuang, Erzwang, you all can come and eat now." 4 polar people swarmed into the Lord's hut. Even Yelena curled up and squeezed into the hut against the wooden walls. The Lord's hut, which was a total of 30 square meters in area, became extremely crowded all at once. Lu Muxue had already filled 6 wooden bowls with meat soup, which also contained melted snake meat. The eyes of the 4 polar people gleamed, and their hands holding the bowls were shaking. But since Chao Xing hadn't spoken, they didn't dare make any presumptuous moves. At that moment, Chao Xing came to the stove and picked up one of the wooden bowls, saying, "Although we've only known each other for a day, I'm very satisfied with your performance. To reward you for your efforts, enjoy this pot of snake soup to your heart's content. Now, let's enjoy the meal." At this instant, the 4 polar people lifted the delicious soup in their hands, their saliva secreting crazily. Then, they shouted in unison, "Praise the great Lord! Praise the great second Lord!" As the words were uttered, the 4 polar people drained the soup bowls in one gulp. The sounds of glug glug filled the air. Moments later, a look of bliss appeared on the faces of all four polar people. Good heavens, I swear, this is the most delicious meal I've ever had in my life. Erzwang, me too. I've never had such delicious soup in the underground. Everyone, we must remember, all of this was bestowed upon us by the Lord. We must work hard to repay the Lord. We are willing to go through fire and water for the Lord. The four polar people were deeply moved. A system prompt appeared. Your territory member, Dazhuang, has tasted delicious snake soup, his loyalty has increased, current loyalty, 85. Your territory member, Erzwang, has tasted delicious snake soup, his loyalty has increased, current loyalty, 80. The goodwill of the four polar people skyrocketed, all over 80 points. With such high goodwill, basically, whatever Chao Xing asked them to do, they would do. Chao Xing also noticed Yelena nearby. Her hunger level had dropped below 50. Yelena squinted her slender eyelids, constantly sticking out her tongue, seemingly also eager to eat. Chao Xing approached Yelena and asked, Yelena, do you want raw meat or cooked meat? Yelena spat out her crimson tongue, raw meat, respected lord. Chao Xing nodded, about to take out 2 pieces of snake meat from his backpack. After a thought, Chao Xing put them back. Instead, he tossed 2 pieces of the newly harvested wolf meat to Yelena. Yelena bit into it in one go and then swallowed it down directly. Licking her lips, she smiled contentedly and said, Thank you, Lord. Your territory member, Yelena, has tasted delicious wolf meat, her loyalty has increased, current loyalty, 71. Chao Xing noticed that Yelena's hunger level had risen by 10 points, barely reaching 60. This wouldn't do, as not reaching a full state for an extended period would also decrease loyalty. Yelena was powerful, but likewise, she consumed more food. After pondering for a moment, Chao Xing continued to feed her 4 more pieces of wolf meat, finally bringing her hunger value up to 80. Thank you for your generosity, Lord. Chao Xing nodded. Fortunately, this time, they'd hunted 2 snow wolves. Otherwise, with Yelena's appetite, their food stores wouldn't last them 2 days. Moreover, in Chao Xing's hands, there was an even more powerful recruitment scroll, Frost Wolf Warrior. One could imagine that when the time came, feeding the 2 big eaters every day would require a staggering amount of food. Starting tomorrow, we'll have to find a way to gather more food, Chao Xing thought to himself. Since it was night, he couldn't work or go out exploring. So, Chao Xing instructed Yelena and the 4 polar people to return to their quarters to rest. After they left, the Lord's hut became spacious again. As for Lu Muxue, she had to stay with Chao Xing until new quarters were built. At the moment, Lu Muxue seemed a bit nervous. This appeared to be her first time sharing a room with a man. However, Chao Xing didn't harbor any superfluous thoughts. Sitting in front of the fire, Chao Xing opened the system interfaces, chat channel. He wanted to see how the other survivors were faring. He opened the world channel, and a deluge of messages poured in. Lin Zixuan, cold. So cold. I'm freezing to death. Lawrence, oh, God. What kind of world is this? My family has run out of food, the bonfire is about to go out, can anyone save us? Andre, damn. There are monsters lurking outside the camp, and one of them bit me. Fujihara Ayako, my husband has frozen to death, his body is so stiff and cold, sob sob sob. Chapter 10, Bargaining, Ice Armor Skill Book. From their information, Chao Xing learned that quite a few people had already died. Most had succumbed to the cold weather, while a few encountered monster attacks outdoors. Humanity as a whole was gripped by fear and anxiety. On the World Channel, there were also other relatively calm survivors sharing their experiences there. Zhang Huayan said, Brothers, make sure to build the Lord's hut as soon as possible, only after establishing the Lord's hut can you unlock other constructions. Ed Stafford suggested, I recommend quickly gathering stones and wood around your territory first, then upgrading your bonfire. Wang Xing advised, if you encounter monsters in the wild, don't attempt an attack, remember to run back immediately. Once you reach the bonfire's range, those monsters won't attack you. Just as Chao Xing had anticipated, out of the over 7 billion people worldwide, there were some who adapted well. However, compared to Chao Xing, they were still a step behind. They hadn't played this game beforehand like Chao Xing, nor did they have an SSS-level hidden talent. In these 4 hours, Chao Xing not only established the Lord's Hut and the Polar People Hut but also constructed the logging factory, market, and other buildings, in addition to upgrading the bonfire to level 3. Moreover, after 2 battles, Chao Xing's resources had reached an abundant level. Chao Xing thought for a moment and added a line himself. Chao Xing said, at night, the minimum temperature can drop to 60 degrees C. Don't go out unnecessarily. If you haven't built the Lord's Hut in time, you can first use wooden planks and stones to construct a simple shelter that can barely withstand the cold of the first night. After finishing his words, Chao Xing closed the world channel. He didn't know how many people would see his message. Nor did he know if anyone would use his method to survive the first night. But in any case, he considered it a kind-hearted reminder. Then, he opened the regional channel. According to the system's description, this was a 500 km by 500 km square area. It displayed the following. Region 174 channel. Online population, 38224/40173. Chao Xing silently pondered. Clearly, on the first day, many people had already died. In his region alone, nearly 2,000 people had perished. It was imaginable how high the death rate among survivors worldwide must be. But this was inevitable. In a survival game, many people were bound to be eliminated. Moreover, once the first day was over, everyone would adapt, and the death rate wouldn't be as high. Of course, once the beginner protection phase was over, the monsters roaming outside might attack the camp actively. Then, the death rate might surge again. So, it wasn't just the other survivors. Even Chao Xing had to cherish the time during the beginner protection phase to develop his territory quickly. Opening the regional channel revealed a flood of information. Wang Wenjie asked, brothers, are you all from Xiangjiang? Gu Boran replied, I'm not from Xiangjiang, but I'm from the neighboring Shingang city. Xiao Pingwei said, I'm from Xiangjiang. Han Fei said, I'm also from Xiangjiang. Upon reviewing the chat above, Chao Xing realized it. This regional division likely randomly assigned people from adjacent cities together. At this time, that Wang Wenjie continued, fellow people, I ran into trouble. My sister fainted due to the cold and now has a high fever. Who has cold medicine or antibiotics to save my sister? Qi Chang said, my family is also sick. My parents have collapsed. It's just me and my brother left. What should we do if this continues? Lu Jizhong said, it's a problem. After tonight, tomorrow's food isn't enough, and I don't have warm clothing. Fong Long said, I am Fong Long from the Three Heroes Association, fellow members, contact me quickly. In the chat channel, many were expressing their current difficulties and hoping for help. Of course, there were also some survivors in this region who had already developed. Chen Tianhao said, haha, a group of cowards, you guys just stay near the bonfire. I've already found a treasure box in the snow and opened an iron sword and a bunch of food inside. Ji Wenlong said, I also opened a treasure box and got a medical bag which can treat colds and fevers. If you want, trade it with food or weapons. Cheng Lei said, selling cold-resistant coats, need food, lots of food. From the information above, it was clear that everyone severely lacked supplies. Chao Xing closed the regional channel. He also needed to go to the market to trade for some supplies now. Chao Xing opened the market interface of the territory construction. Upon opening, he saw many lines of trade information. Auction item, stone block *20. Requested item, food *10 or medical box *1. Auction person, Zhao Jiaying. Seller's note, basic materials, price can be negotiated. Auction item, rusty spear, white, *1. Requested item, food *20. Auction person, anonymous. Seller's note, iron spear, rusted but stronger than the initial weapon gifted by the system, need food. Food. Auction item, opened bronze treasure box *1. Requested item, warm clothing. Auction person, Won. Seller's note, though the treasure box has been opened, it can be broken down into the rare material copper, give me warm clothing, I'm freezing. Clearly, today was the first day of global arrival. In this world with extreme environments, the scarcest items were naturally food, warm clothing, and medicines. Everyone was exchanging the limited resources at hand. Chao Xing himself only had one medical box, and he was short on warm clothing. So clearly, he couldn't trade these items. He continued browsing to see if he could find something he needed. At this time, he saw an auction message. Auction item, ice armor skill book, white, *1. Requested item, food *50, or medical box *5. Auction person, Melis. Seller's note, early skill book for Frost Mage, negotiable, act fast. Chao Xing's eyes lit up. It was the Frost Mage's, ice armor skill. This skill could increase a certain amount of armor value based on the user's spirit strength, lasting 20 seconds, but the consumption was relatively high. For other Frost Mages, it might be a useless skill, but for Chao Xing, it was a divine skill. Because this skill could become a permanent enhancement skill when combined with his talent. Combined with Yelena's scale armor, Chao Xing's defensive power would reach an extraordinary level. Chao Xing almost wanted to grab this skill book immediately. But clearly, this guy was outrageously pricing it at 50 food items straight away. Fortunately, the seller's note mentioned negotiating, indicating room for discussion. So, Chao Xing opened the private chat interface of the auction. Chao Xing said, 10 food items for the ice armor skill book. Within a few seconds, Melis sent an exasperated emoji. Melis said, I told you to bargain, not to slaughter me. You want to exchange 10 food items for a skill book. Why don't you try robbing? Go, get out of here. Chao Xing replied, I know you're in a hurry, but don't rush. What if I told you this wasn't ordinary food but meat? Melis said, meat? You got meat this quickly? The tone on the other side was filled with strong astonishment. Chao Xing knew the other party didn't believe him, given that, at this stage, meat could only be obtained from those wild creatures. Clearly, on the first day, almost no one could defeat those wild creatures. Chao Xing directly pasted the item information into the private chat window, but he sent snake meat information. Only at this moment did Melis finally believe that Chao Xing indeed had meat. Wow, brother! You actually managed to get snake meat. Chao Xing directly asked, so, will you sell it or not? Melis said, of course, I'll sell it, but aren't you offering too little? At least 40 food items, which translates to 8 pieces of snake meat, or don't bother talking. Chao Xing said, what are you thinking? I don't even have that much, a maximum of 3 pieces of snake meat. However, Melis insisted that it couldn't be less than 6 pieces of snake meat. Chao Xing directly replied, then forget it, keep it yourself. Ice armor skill is just an early stage skill, the drop rate isn't low. After tomorrow, you won't be able to exchange it even for food. Hearing this, the other side seemed a bit hesitant. Melis asked hesitantly, is what you're saying true?
So the blood moon rises, and the soil just whispered his name. If you thought the harvest was over, think again. She hasn't even revealed her true form, and neither have I. Subscribe to witness the next descent, and remember, in this apocalypse, the farm feeds more than just the body. It feeds war, love, and something far darker.